as a casting director, it is my responsibility to make sure that I'm open and meeting new people all of the time and considering them
Mm.
for opportunities and the things that they want to do and the things that they love to do. It's answering emails from young kids who are just starting in the business and find my
Mm.
email somehow and reach out. I can't obviously respond to everything, but I do try to,
Mhm.
be encouraging when I can be. It's in audition rooms, taking the time to really go through a piece of material with an actor and make sure that they feel confident and secure in their choices that they've worked on and honing in on the performance and making sure that when they
Mm.
leave, they feel good about what happened in that room that day. I mean, it's these little things. It's these little things that you don't necessarily think mean much, but I think in the overall can be really helpful to somebody else's journey.
Kindness.
Why kindness?
Because it makes a difference.
For connection.
Kindness can change lives.
It's contagious.
The science says you'll be glad you did.
Kindness is the key to a healthier, happier world.
Why kindness? While no one answer is the same, one thing is clear. Kindness is something we all know, but do we know why it matters? I'm your host, Jaclyn Lindsey, co-founder CEO of kindness.org, and you're listening to Why Kindness. Hello, kind makers. Welcome back to Why Kindness. Today we're interviewing a creative with a new perspective, casting director Julie Schubert. She is an Emmy-winning talent based in New York, curating some of your favorite on-screen casts, from House of Cards to Marvel's Jessica Jones and Daredevil to Mindhunter to most recently the Netflix hit The Diplomat, which I am obsessed with and cannot wait to talk about. Welcome, Julie! Julie, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm really good. How are you doing?
Very well. Super excited to talk to you. We open up every episode asking our guest, why kindness? What would you say to that?
Because the world needs a lot of it right now,
Yeah.
and it's just important.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
What was life like for you where kindness became important? Or, what has been happening where you feel like, yeah, we really need it?
I've been thinking a lot about this, and I think for a really long time, I sort of confused kindness with just being human, because I think that's sort of what we should be as individuals, And so I never really thought of what we do in the day-to-day as kindness, which is sort of like the last week or so since I knew I was going to be coming on here, kind of reflecting on what that means. And it's like these little things that I think I took for granted or didn't realize were just acts of love in that way, when you're having a really bad day and someone just sends you a text and says, "Hey, thinking about you." Or when I was a kid and scared to go to a, summer camp for the first time and I wasn't very good at making friends, and my grandmother gave me a bag of candy to pass out to people because she knew that that's a way to have a connection. I mean, you can also look at it like bribing, but I choose to think of it as like a way to share something, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but it is like kindness. Kindness is just human connection in ways that make people feel better in general. And I think where we are in the world right now with everything going on and you can really lean into the tragedy that is happening across the globe. But finding those moments that uplift, I think is really, it's super meaningful and it gives you hope.
Thank you for that. I couldn't agree more. And I think I've had to actually stop. Like, how do I stay knowledgeable about what's happening without overwhelming myself with the news? And I've had to really stop myself from just the doom scrolling.
Yeah.
When I wake up, it's like this reminder I can't control the conflict and devastation and tragedy and sorrow taking place literally around the world every day. So what can I do? And it's like, just control what you're contributing, and how you're choosing
Exactly.
to show up, and like the belief that that ripple effects will matter and be meaningful, even if it's not making headline news. And
Agreed.
we need people, right? We need ourselves or people like ourselves out there to do that and remind others. So thank you. I love that perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do, to help like break the ice, kind of a round robin of questions. So I'm going to just throw a bunch of questions at you.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
No wrong answers.
It's fun. It's funny, and I don't mean to, because it's not something you get to talk about very often. This thing of kindness, right?
Oh,
Like I can
yeah.
talk about what I do in business all the time. I feel so confident about that. I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel as confident about kindness sharing. So this is a really fascinating and also
Mm,
beautiful platform to have for people to find ways to embrace what is coming in and what you put out. So sorry, I
thank
know
you.
that was a tangent, but
No,
it's lovely.
no, we can roll with the tangent. The reason we do this is to showcase the stories of reminding people it doesn't matter who you are, where you live, what you do. Like kindness plays a role, and we need that reminder sometimes because I think about it day in and day out as like my job. But when I was starting this, I felt this call to a mission of kindness, and I was like, I could be a cab driver and just be kind to everyone who gets in my cab. And so I didn't even know, how do you turn this into something? But it was like, no, it's just about, as humans, how do we show up every day?
Yeah.
And it is that reminder. And but people like you show the inspiring side of like wherever we are, whatever we're doing, there's power in that, and there's a way to show up with kindness, and there's a way not to, and
Yeah.
it can change the trajectory.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, love tangents, so we can always do those. Okay. So if you could get everyone in the world to do one kind act, what would it be?
Oh, that's a big one. Accept everyone.
Mm,
Just accept everyone for who they are and what they are.
we've never had that. I actually don't know if we've ever had a duplicate, but I know we haven't had that, and that's definitely to me
Oh,
one of the most powerful ones.
awesome.
Define kindness in one word.
Love.
Mhm.
Take that back. Peace.
Oh,
I think peace.
yeah. I like it. I like it. A tangent on that is um, that people will confuse kindness and niceness.
Yes.
Mm,
There's a
and
really
the
funny saying.
oh,
Have you
yeah.
heard the saying? And
Okay.
it's apologies to all the Californians out there because I feel
Oh,
like
okay.
that's me. This is going to sound mean, but there is like I'm from the East Coast and we
Yeah.
have a version of kindness. Like we are kind. We are mean. Like we sound mean. We curse a lot. We sound pretty rude, but we'll
Yeah.
stop and we'll change your tire. And what I find in Los
Yes.
Angeles, and apologies, Los Angeles, because I do think there are incredibly awesome people out there, is that there's a niceness. Like you'll be on the side of the road with
Mhm.
a flat tire and people be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but they won't help you change it. And it's interesting
Yeah.
because kindness is an act, niceness is just a
Yes.
thing, you know?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You got it. Do you need another job? Do you need to Yes, like, that's exactly what it is. It's like and that's why I think peace, I don't think anyone's ever said peace, and we haven't talked about it in that way, but, like, it's hard to have peace, just like it's hard to choose kindness sometimes. You're busy, stopping to help with the tire, there's a bunch of reasons why you could not, but doing it is the thing where it's like, "No, I'm gonna show up and I'm willing to do it," and I think peace has that same idea, like, we all want it, but
Mhm.
it can be difficult to attain, but we should never stop pursuing it. So, I love
And
that.
I also think
Yeah.
the act of kindness is peace. I think that it brings sort of this comfort, this sort of like ease. Yeah, I mean, maybe
Mhm.
it's just me, but when I'm either performing an act of kindness or an act of kindness
Mhm.
is given to me, it's just there's something kind of it's like this beautiful calmness, which is
Mm,
why I don't know. I think that's why it resonates for me in that way.
I love that. Okay. Uh, kindness as a song. What song would it be?
Oh no! Oh man, I might be really bad at this one because all of the songs in my head are like really dark, twisted heartbreak songs, which I don't necessarily think are very equivalent to kindness.
Julie's like, Prodigy Firestarter.
I know, truly. um,
We can come back to it.
We might have to come back to that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a hard one because you really, that one I can't, I don't think I can, I'm not going to be able to answer that one.
Okay.
I can answer,
Okay.
if you ask me about a movie with kindness, I can answer that one. I can't
Let's try
answer
it. Let's do it. A
do
movie.
Beverly Hills.
Oh, okay. I would never think.
No, but think about it. I mean, it's this group of ragtag kids
Yeah.
who have every reason not to want to support each other, that do things for each other. I mean, from top to bottom, and it's just,
Yeah.
also, I just really love that movie, and I feel like, it really does promote
Yeah.
like togetherness and, being there
Yeah.
for your people.
So we'll go with the movie. If you think song later, let me know.
If I think of a song later, I'll let you know. I mean, unless you go with like The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow from Annie. But that just seems a little bit on the nose.
Most people usually are. They're like,
Okay, great.
happy. So,
Am I going too deep
no,
right
wrong
now? Is
answer.
that
We added to the Spotify list. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, what are you reading right now or listening to, like on audio?
I don't listen to podcasts, which is terrible. I should really get into that. And honestly, I'm reading a lot of murder mysteries right now, which isn't necessarily super kind, but they really do make me happy for some reason.
That's okay.
So,
Yeah.
sorry.
I think, yeah. Okay. That's okay. Murder mystery.
Yeah.
No, you got to have the thing that brings you joy.
Yeah. And apparently murder brings me joy. Who knew? Just kidding. Sorry. The solving of murder brings me joy. Let's go with that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Oh my
Sorry.
goodness. Justice. That's what it is.
Justice.
Justice
Yes,
brings me
absolutely.
joy. Yes,
Absolutely.
that's what. Who would you thank for teaching you kindness?
My grandmother. She's not with me anymore, but she was such a bright light. And again, I wouldn't have equated what she shared and what she did with us as kindness. But looking back on it, she's who I aspire to be like, in how she gives. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Her name was Nina. And weirdly, I called her Nina my whole life, and I would get, I don't know why she wanted us to call her by her first name. It was a thing, and I would get so angry when I was a kid with people calling her Nina. I'm like, that's my Nina. You can't call her that. You call her something else. It was, she's she was everything.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Before you became this incredible casting director, tell us about childhood. So East Coast, you grew up on the East Coast.
I grew up right south of Philly, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and my dad had opened a restaurant before I was born. It was really the firstborn, and I have 3 siblings, all of us very close in age. We were all born within 4.5 years of each other. My poor mother, and
Wow.
we all worked in the restaurant until I left for college, and I'm the only one that doesn't work there today, which you can see in the menu because they have a story of Moose and Goose. The story of Moose and Goose, and it's like Julie, Josh, Becky, and Sam. Only Josh, Becky, and Sam live with us still. And it's like, what happened to Julie? No one knows. I've disappeared. I've disappeared from the family lore. It's very sad. But yeah, no, everybody, the restaurant's still there. They're doing great. My father passed away a couple years ago, so but I do think he'd be proud of what of what they've accomplished, because they really did follow his vision, but they've elevated it in a way that I think is the community is really responding to, which is pretty great.
It's amazing. What was his original vision?
I mean, it was he opened it at a time where Bucks County was really farmland, and it was a family restaurant. It started out as sort of pizza, steak sandwiches, hoagies, and then it sort of grew into this. It grew into this family legacy in a way. I mean, and they took over an old Acme supermarket eventually because it became really popular.
Wow.
And as the world has shifted and as time has shifted, I mean, they survived COVID. They realized that, catering tends to be the path that was the most successful. And so their restaurant portion and bar portion is much smaller, and they've opened up some new catering halls, but the food is my home cooking. And this is their They're celebrating their 50th anniversary this year, actually.
Oh my
They've been open
goodness.
for 50 years, which is, I think, a pretty amazing feat. And
That's incredible.
my mom is, still doing all the accounting and the payroll, and she's the head honcho. But it is truly, outside of me, a family business that has
Wow.
sustained all of their families for our whole lives.
And do you have nieces or nephews who will become the third generation owners?
I don't know if they will. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what their legacies are going to be. I do have a bunch of nieces and nephews.
Okay.
How many? One, two, three, four, five, six. Six of them. So, three of them are still very, very tiny, and not sure what their path
Oh,
is. But I think the oldest niece is looking to move into medicine. She's going to be a pediatric nurse, which I think is incredible.
wow.
Um,
Yeah.
and my second niece, I think she wants to move into cosmetology, which she excels at.
Oh,
And then the nephew just wants to be a famous baseball player right now. So we'll see what happens there. He's also very young.
so tell us the story. What prompted you to leave? Were you considered the black sheep when you decided to leave, or were they
I like
supportive?
to joke that I'm the black sheep. I don't think I'm the black sheep. I think
Okay.
I mean, I don't think that they really know what I do for a living, but I think they're
Oh.
proud of me, or at least I hope they're proud of me.
Yeah.
I think what I realized pretty early is that I don't think I was cut out. I mean, I could go back to the restaurant business and I think I'd do fine, but I wanted something different. I wanted to be in entertainment. I watched so many
Mhm.
movies and so much television growing up, and I just wanted to be involved in this industry that I knew nothing about, that no one in my family was a part of. And initially, I thought I wanted to be an actor, and then so I applied to school. I got into NYU for acting, and took out a whole bunch of loans because that was a very expensive school. Realized very quickly that I was bad at it, and I needed to do something else with my
Um,
life. And I got a bunch of internships, and one of them happened to be in casting, and it was sort of the best of all worlds. I still get to work with actors, but I don't have to be seen, which is always, for me, the most challenge of an actor. And what I do think it gave me is the language to work with actors, especially trained actors that have the vocabulary to be able to maneuver between choices with just, with direction and character analysis and all of that. And yeah, so that's sort of how it happened for me. And for a long time my family would always say, "Hey, you can come back, you can work in the family business, it's okay." And I think it was at one point, I can't remember the exact point, but there was one point where they just stopped asking because I started being able to, like, I was living. And I think
yeah.
that was a big indicator for them that I was where I was supposed to be.
Yeah, when you can show you go from surviving to thriving, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
okay, we gotta
Yeah.
support this.
Yeah.
So what was the movie? Do you have one movie or a couple movies from childhood where you're like, "This is what I'm meant to do, is to be involved in creation of stories and things on the screen?"
So, funny enough, True Beverly Hills was a big one. It was like the first movie I saw in theaters, and it was, again, I wanted to be I just wanted to be a part of it. It just,
Yeah.
because how fun, you sing all the songs and get to hang out with Shelley Long, and
Yeah,
um, and yeah, I mean, that I think that was one of I mean, there's such a big
so
list of
many.
things,
Yeah,
but that one in
yeah.
particular stands the test of time for me,
Mhm.
for
You
sure.
know, what's so powerful about movies to me is the work I do now, when I think of my passion for it, it actually goes back to my first time seeing the movie Braveheart in the theater. It's like one of the first theater movies I remember seeing, and I was little. I was so my dad shouldn't have taken me, but, we did. But I left with, like, this call to fight for, like, justice and equity. I remember being so inspired by this idea that, like, people could be oppressed, and it just wasn't anything I'd seen. Like, maybe we had started learning some of those things in school, but even then, it wasn't a deep version of anything. But the movie, cinematically, like, I just felt the awe of what the story showed me,
Mm.
and my path became very interested in that. And how many people have that where it's like a movie showed them what's possible. My son's movie is about a soccer star, Pele. There's a
Mhm.
dramatized version of Pele's story. So, and he watches that and he's inspired by what's possible with soccer. And so I just think that's the power of film. We can
Mhm.
all find our in a way, but you ended up in film, which I think is very cool.
Yeah, me too. I like it. I'm happy. I'm happy with where I am, and I love what I do.
How long have you been doing casting?
I mean, 2 decades.
Wow.
Like 20 years, a little over 20 years.
Okay, so a look behind the curtain as much as you're comfortable, what does kindness and or unkindness look like? Because I think Hollywood can get a bad rap, and obviously we know there's a lot of work that's being done to create more equitable experiences for people and fairness and all of that. But I'm just curious what your experience has been, within the casting world at least. What does that look like for you?
I mean, I think it's so many different things. I think it's meeting new people and being open to new experiences. I think a lot of times actors feel like they don't have the access that they would like, and as a casting director, it is my responsibility to make sure that I'm open and meeting new people all of the time and considering them
Mm,
for opportunities and the things that they want to do and the things that they love to do. It's answering emails from young kids who are just starting in the business and find my
mm,
email somehow and and reach out. I can't obviously respond to everything, but I do try to,
mhm,
be encouraging when I can be.
mhm,
It's in audition rooms, taking the time to really go through a piece of material with an actor and make sure that they feel confident and secure in their choices that they've worked on and honing in on the performance and making sure that when they
mm,
leave they feel good about what happened in that room that day. Um,
mm,
I think it's taking a phone call from an agent you haven't talked to before and discussing their clients and seeing, who they're passionate about and how that resonates. Um, I mean, it's these little things. It's these little things that you don't necessarily think mean much, but I think in the overall can be really helpful to somebody else's journey. And it's something that's
yeah.
very easy for me to give and very,
Mm,
you know, and why wouldn't I, you know?
yeah. Do you feel like you're the anomaly or the norm
I don't
when
think
it comes
so.
to
I
okay.
feel I feel like it's every casting director I've ever spoken with, every
Yeah.
casting director in my peer group or that I have that I'm in these things with, like I don't know a single person that would not feel that way
Mm,
about the experience. I also don't I mean, maybe I mean, I'm sure there are people out there. We all know that there are. But the folks that I am around genuinely feel passion for wanting people to succeed and wanting to be there and help them on their journeys. So I like to think I'm not an anomaly.
good. I hope so, yeah. I mean, when you were starting out, did you have people that you can, like, credit with showing you kindness in those early days? Yeah.
Every single person I worked for, Juliet Taylor, Bonnie Finnegan, Ellen Lewis, they took time to explain things to me.
Mhm,
They gave me opportunities that I I don't know if I was ready for, but I wanted to really prove that I could do it. They
mhm.
trusted me. I think they guided me. They were, they truly set my path the way I am now, the way where I am right now, you know?
Wow. What was the first project you ever worked on?
For free or for pay? Because like the reality is the industry is a really challenging place to be in. So I did intern for no money, and thank God that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah,
There are pay scales, but I had to intern for free for a year while also like doing multiple jobs to pay the bills because I don't come from money.
right.
I'm not that. So um my first paid job was for Bonnie Finnegan,
Okay.
And it was a pilot called Hench Home, which didn't end up getting picked up. It was for Paramount Television. And I was well and over my head. This was prior to the internet being what it is now. So you would have these phone calls with agents, and Mikey Halburn was working with Bonnie at the time on that particular pilot. And I remember, you'd have to, they would, the cast director would send the call to me in the outskirts, and I would take the names that they've said yes to and give them appointment times. And it wasn't done via email. It was all done via phone. And I didn't know anybody's names at that point. I was still really, really
Right.
green. And so everybody was talking so fast. And so I'd write, and I'd be like, oh no, I can't ask them for any questions. I can't ask them for anything else. I got it. So like the very first session sheet I ever printed out had people's names like Nicole, question mark, or like Samantha, did I spell this right? Question mark, like those sort of things. And I didn't, my boss could have been like, you're an idiot. This is the thing you have to do. Why are you not understanding that? But instead, Mikey came out, she sat with me, and she was like, so listen, names are really important. Like, we are our names in this business. And so it's really important that we honor people's names by making sure they're spelled correctly, and that that we know their first and last name, because they're giving us our time. And so she taught me the importance of it, but also gave me the permission to be like, I need you to repeat yourself. Can you please spell that slower? Because I didn't want to be that person. And I think that was a true act of kindness for someone who was
That's
really starting
incredible.
out and nervous. She
Yeah.
was great. Yeah.
That's an amazing example. I think that actually, like, going into workplace leadership and how managers respond, those are the things like that will forever shape now how you're going to treat the next person who doesn't know. And
Mhm.
I think, how do we ask questions? How do we empower people? I mean, that's an amazing, amazing illustration. Is she still in your life?
Yes, she left casting, sort of. She is now at SCAD. She's the director of
Oh,
casting, and
wow.
they've started a casting program out of SCAD, which I think is brilliant. And students who are interested in learning the art of casting get to join this casting office that she's sort of spearheading, and help cast all the shows that they
Wow.
do out of SCAD, the student films. They have a really incredible program, and I've been fortunate to be able to go down once a year and like see the students and the showcases, and having those direct conversations with those students. It's pretty cool.
That's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, it's wild, like, thinking about I went to an art school for high school, for
cool.
theater. There was definitely a time where I thought I would pursue that, and I remember they had us go through no matter what you were interested in, you had to learn stagecraft, you had to learn costume design, you had to learn improv, and it was such a well-rounded way to show you
Mhm.
it's not just one thing that makes a show succeed. I've never forgotten, even though I didn't pursue that and end up pursuing that, it just always stayed with me, this idea of how important it is, no matter who you are and what you do, like, to learn all of it, or at least be knowledgeable enough that you can appreciate it takes a village, it's not a single thing that brings success, it's the collective.
Yeah,
So yeah, I love that.
yeah. It is. It's true.
This season of Why Kindness is made possible by the Wasserman Glasser family in loving memory of Sandra K. Wasserman. Sandra believed that kindness could change the world, and she had a remarkable way of making everyone feel seen, valued, and loved. Her signature phrase was simple, yet powerful: "Thank you for your kindness." Her belief in kindness as a force for change is the very heartbeat of this podcast. In her honor, we invite listeners to do the same. Think of someone who has shown you kindness and let them know. A simple thank you can ripple farther than we ever could imagine. From the Wasserman Glasser family, thank you for your kindness. We are honored to carry Sandra's light forward into this season. You're working on one of my favorite shows. And so I was fangirling when Rob told me that I was going to get a chance to sit with you.
Oh, that's so nice.
Okay. Yes. No, I'm so excited. And I'm sure everyone wants to like dive deep into it. So I want to maybe try to find an angle that you feel like you're not constantly having to like go over the same things. Maybe tell us a little bit about how you ended up being involved in the Diplomat, so we can just start there. And then I do have a few things I'd like love to hear more about with the experience.
Yeah, no, I interviewed, I auditioned for the Diplomat the same way actors audition for jobs. I met with showrunner Deborah Kahn, and it had been a long time since I'd read a script that I was that excited about. It was so incredibly well written. The characters were so vibrant and really, I mean, they really jumped off the page. I know I talked about that. I know I talk about that a lot, but I think I don't think I can stress enough how great the material was. And I was so nervous and excited, and I was like, I had zero chill. I was so overly effusive in a way that I was sure I scared her completely away, to the point of actually I literally said to her, "I will gnaw off my right arm to work with you on this," which is so horrific. But fortunately for me, she wasn't too scared, and I got the job, and I've been so grateful ever since. I truly have. This has been a dream. I think it's, when you get material that's just this rich, and you get to work
Yeah.
with people like Deborah Kahn, like Janice Williams, with Netflix, and have all of it be so supportive and wonderful. And it's just, I feel really lucky. I really do.
It's amazing. And the good
Yeah.
news is you don't need your right arm to do casting. So at
I
least
mean, you do. I mean, when you're right-handed, it's probably important to have, but
oh, that's true.
you got. I was willing to do it though. I did
You were
offer, and
willing
I
to do it.
probably would have followed through.
Oh,
Thankfully, she didn't.
she
She
didn't
didn't
make
make
you.
me.
When you get this role, like I've because I have always wondered how much are like the creators of a show saying we already know who we wrote this for. Because I'll sometimes hear that in an interview. They'll be like, "Oh, we wrote this script for this actor to play this part or something." But like when you're stepping in, is your job to say, "Okay, I vetted everyone, and here's who I'm recommending," and you're collaborating like as much as you can tell us. What does that process look like of actually identifying the actors for the roles?
No, I mean, it truly is a very collaborative experience. It was, I came in and there was no one attached. Sometimes you do come into a project and there's someone that they're eyeing and that they're circling and they want to say yes to. And in this case, it really was. I don't want to say a blank slate, but it was an open forum for discussion, which was really
Mhm.
exciting. And as you discussed what the show was, what the show should be, who the characters are, it became a really stark indication for me of who would be the most exciting possibilities. And I was fortunate that, with Deborah and with Netflix, that for the most part we were pretty much in sync on agreeing with how and who it should move forward with. And that doesn't usually happen very often. So it's been really lovely. Sometimes you really do have to fight
Wow.
for your idea. But at the same time, I'm also
Hmm.
there to serve their vision. I do have a point of view. I always come in with a
Right.
point of view, but it is not my show. It is their show, and I will collaborate with them to get them exactly what it is that they want to say with the project that they have in front of them.
Okay. Okay. And are you able to share if you cast Keri or how? Are you able to share who got cast first? Is that
I
public
mean, it,
knowledge?
it had to be Keri. The show's called The Diplomat. If you don't have the
Yeah.
Diplomat, it's really hard to put the rest of the pieces in place.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, because I personally like watching it, I don't I've thought like who could and it's like there's literally no one better. In my mind, their pairing. It's one of the best on screen. I know you know this, but like I
No,
just have to
I'm
tell
really
you.
glad to hear it. It's like it's so validating because it's just I think we all had that vision of the two of them, and
Yeah.
it's so exciting. I love them together. I just think it's really magnetic.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. And so did you like when you were pairing them or I guess what she was like having to do table reads or I forget what they're called when you like bring in the actors to like test with
No,
her?
there were no tests. There were no tests. It was
Wow.
yeah, and so a lot of people talk about chemistry and how do you know for sure that someone has chemistry, and
Yeah.
I think I think that you go in, you do roll the dice a little bit, but I do think that you go
Yeah.
in with a level of understanding that these are incredibly gifted actors who have a way of working, and
Yeah.
that because they have similar energies in terms of how they approach material, that they would find likeness with each other.
Right.
Um, and thankfully it happened.
Yeah.
Thank
I
goodness.
feel I am gobsmacked because I think what I think was interesting, like for me watching the show was that their chemistry for me, it is about a respect chemistry, like the depth of way that they like love each other where it's not I I know you don't this, but as like
No,
the
no, it's
observer,
great. I love it.
as the viewer, I think it's like that what I found so powerful is like it's so intense. Like it's like they want to like rip each other's clothes off and also like they're like can't stand to be in the room and it's like and that was like what was so powerful is like it was palpable. Like you feel it watching it that chemistry. I can't believe they were never in a room together or you didn't cast them in that like way that I guess I imagined where you had to like see how would you fight? How would you speak to each other? Wow. Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo.
No, I mean,
Bravo.
sometimes you do
Like,
get to have the opportunity to have those chemistry reads, but yeah, no, we didn't hear. It was all,
wow.
could have gone really wrong, but it definitely didn't. And that's all that
Yeah.
matters.
Okay. And so then from the leads down, you do all casting or do you bring in other people to support you with how you fill out the whole cast?
So I'm really fortunate on the Diplomat because we shoot a lot of it in the UK as well. That I have incredible partners in the UK, Lucinda Sison and Natasha Vincent, who are brilliant casting directors and what they do. And I'm really fortunate to not only call them friends but collaborators because without them we would not have the
Yeah.
cast that we have. You know, it's
Mhm.
I'm lucky. I feel like I say I'm
Amazing.
lucky a lot, but
So
I
you
do.
get to
I
go to
feel very lucky.
I love it. Let's be lucky. Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of right? Like we would all hope for that. Do you get to go to the UK for the show?
No, I mean that's the sad part of having partners in the UK. They take care of
Yeah.
everything in the UK, so
Okay.
I don't get to go. But that's
Okay.
but I did go the first season and I got to,
Okay.
tour the set and see it all in action, especially starting out. It was cool.
Amazing. Are you able to share what kindness is like with this group and team and like anything that you've seen that you've just felt like really inspired by seeing that play out on this
I mean, I
project?
think I think the whole group is just kind. Like they
Mm,
are, and especially Keri being number one, it can be a really intimidating thing for someone who's coming in as a day player or a guest spot who hasn't had the opportunity to be on this set for the 3 seasons. Well, now 4 seasons because we're finishing up our 4th season currently. With relationships that have been formed for many years and everybody who steps on set is welcomed, which I think is
it's amazing.
it can be a rarity, and it all stems from Keri down.
Mm,
They all make sure that everybody who steps on set knows that they're there because they are wanted there, and they are
mhm.
given the opportunity, the best work that they can. And I think that that's a big kindness, especially for someone who is intimidated by the possibility of being in front of these heavy hitting players and
Yeah.
wanting to do a good job. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the idea that like you can have just one wrong cog in the wheel or something that can like disrupt everything, but when you can all work together well.
Yeah.
But it is, I think too, it's like you hear like old Hollywood stories, of like
Yeah.
the like chair throwing or like the anger and like what that would do. And I feel like it's just so not
Yeah.
kosher anymore. It's like you can't get away with
Good. It
it in the
shouldn't be.
same
That's
way.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
absolutely insane. You
Yeah.
don't make good work by instilling fear in everybody. That's terrible.
I know. I
It's
know. Yeah.
unnecessary.
Would you say this feels like the project you're most proud of? Is there other work you've done that just you're so grateful or proud of that you'd want to talk about?
I mean, I'm so proud of this series. I can't tell you how
Yeah.
proud I am, but I do think that everything that I do and that I say yes to, I am proud of. I'm proud of the opportunities that I'm able to give to great actors. I'm proud of
Mhm.
the projects that turn out really well and that are well received. I'm proud of the ones that aren't well received that so much effort went into.
Yeah.
I've got a project that's coming up at some point. They haven't announced any sort of, that we wrapped earlier this year, but I don't know when it's going to premiere. My hope is that it'll premiere this year, but I'm really proud of that. I mean, it's a beautifully interesting cast and a story that hasn't really
Hmm.
yeah, it hasn't really been here in the world yet. So, I'm excited to see how that hits and if people respond in the way that I hope they do. And,
Yeah.
I'm a real champion for the projects that I get to be involved in because I know how much effort and time and energy and goes into all of this. And, you want to see good things happen with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Once something's cast, how long are you staying involved in the project? Like, is that kind of the only thing you can give attention to? And do you stay with it during the duration or like when Diplomat's not filming? Do you get to go into other projects? What does that juggling look like?
Yeah, no, I have to work on other things, otherwise I wouldn't be able to pay my bills.
Okay.
But I am generally, if it's a series, I'm on for the duration, from start to finish, because you have to remember, once you set your first cast, there's all these other episodes that happen after, and there's new cast in each episode that has to be managed and cast and
Mm.
made deals with, and, schedules don't come out until probably a few weeks before the episode starts shooting, and then it changes as you
Uh-huh.
get into it. So the biggest lift is always a pilot, that first episode
Mhm.
in a series, because you're setting everything up in that. It's all about that prep. And then once the series goes on, there's still a lot of hard work to do in it, but it's not quite as intensive and exhaustive. But you're still part of this world and creating this world. And so on the Diplomat, you have like 4 or 5 months where you're devoted to the Diplomat, and then they're wrapping up, and your job is done with them. And so you, at that point, hope you have something else lined up that you can kind of move into, to stay consistent, because I do like to consistently work. I don't love a lot of downtime. And I've been very fortunate,
Uh-huh.
although I am facing some downtime now, which is like a little bit daunting, and we'll see what happens. But it could also be exciting because you never know what comes around the corner.
Yeah. Okay. But you have to go to LA for work sometimes? Yes
I
or
do.
no?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
I don't mind going to LA for work. I actually just got back from LA on Monday this week. So it's a very easy trip. A lot happens when you're in LA. You're able to make
Yeah.
things happen because all the executives and everybody are out there. But I don't think I could give up the East Coast full time
Yeah.
unless the job was really
Yeah.
was something that was impossible to say no to. But, I can be out there for stretches, like 2, 3 months is not a big deal.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And are you casting primarily for television or do you do film and does casting work the same for like Broadway and stuff, or is it like a completely separate
No, it's definitely
experience?
different. I mean, there's different kinds of casting. There's theater, there's commercial, there's film, there's television, there's verticals, there's publications, there's print, there's a lot of there's reality. My focus is mostly on film and television. I do love watching theater. I can't say that I'm a theater casting director, but I really do enjoy what they put together. And I have done commercials, but I find them personally to be a little less creative and a little more volume,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
isn't why I got into casting. So while I was always grateful for the opportunity, it's not one that I search out regularly. And yeah, so I think the bulk of my work in the last few years has been series, because I think that's what people are producing. But I've
Mhm.
got a bunch of films on my slate, and that are at various stages of financing, and one of them just wrapped, another one's going to be shooting in August. And so it's yeah, no,
Yeah.
I do all of the things.
All the things.
Yeah.
I feel like I could talk to forever and just keep talking. I want to be mindful time and there's a few other fun things we'll do, but is there anything you feel like you'd want to speak to that we didn't get into?
No, I think we covered a lot. That was great.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
You're amazing. You're so inspiring and just like
Oh,
beautiful energy and feel like the world is lucky to have you and so glad that
I feel lucky to be in it, so that's good.
Okay, so one thing workplace wise, and I think this will be so interesting because the work you do, but we do this KQ where you can find out how kind you are to your neighbor or coworker. I think you had a chance to
I
do
did.
it.
I did
Yes?
both, actually. I did
Yes.
I did the coworker, and I did
Oh,
the neighbor, because I was curious. And I found, so my KQ for my coworker is much higher than my neighbor, which makes sense because I spend so much time with my
yeah.
coworkers, and I don't really know my neighbors in that very New York, New Jersey fashion,
Yep. Yep.
which is terrible and makes me think I should probably go talk to my neighbors a little more. But But yeah, like I did pretty well. I got like 103% in coworker
Wow.
world, which is
Thank
like,
you.
you know,
It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
that made me feel good.
Yeah.
I will say the one question, like, will you bail someone out of jail that's
Mm,
tricky because I'm like,
yeah.
probably not. That's the one I
What
probably wouldn't
what'd
do.
they do?
Well,
Ugh.
actually, yeah, no, it depends on what they did. Because if they did something for the purposes of, that I agreed with and we're
Right,
on the same
right. If
page, then of
Keri called you and was
course.
like, "I was protesting," and
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
you're
Then
like,
yes,
"Of
I
course,
mean, I don't
Keri,
think
I'm
she
on
would
my
need
way."
me to bail her out of jail. I think she'd be fine, but yeah, for sure.
Right. You're
But if
like
it
the
was
ninth
something else,
person.
like, I was drunk driving and I need you to
Right,
bail me out of jail,
exactly.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like this is the point. It's more like just getting into like how do we think about choosing the action, like what you were saying at the very beginning. I don't know if changing a tire was on there. I think we have that on our stranger KQ, like as a how do you help strangers? But
Oh, okay.
it's that idea. It's like what are you willing to do? Do you do this? What could change if you didn't do it? So yeah, it's hopefully just to create conversation around how we show up or how we know people and treat them. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing. Was there anything surprising?
I think the thing that was surprising for me is like I have no problems with acts of kindness
Yeah.
that aren't monetized. I think a little harder if there's an excessive amount of money involved in something,
Uh-huh.
whether I would feel comfortable with that. And I think it all depends on the circumstances, of course, but
Yeah.
but it was interesting to me that money played a factor in how
Mhm.
kindness is approached for me.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and we have, like, a database where we, like, looked at the different kinds of acts, and we have some that have no monetary, and there's some that are just as important, if not more important than something with money attached to it, like,
Yeah,
sometimes the kindest thing is saying good morning, or "I see you, you matter," like, that acknowledgement, the gratitude, those things outweigh often the thing where it's like, "I'm buying you a coffee." So there's something around how the recipient's receiving it and what we call like around the effectiveness. So yeah, it's not always about the money, but it is interesting the role money can play and how we
yeah,
choose. Yeah. Well, thank you for taking it and
yeah.
sharing your experience. As we wrap up, we love to end on action. Our podcast is sponsored. We're sponsored by an incredible family, the Wasserman Glasser family, in honor of Sandra K. Wasserman. It's a family where she was the grandma, and the family now is sponsoring it in her honor. And Sandy would always say, "Thank you for your kindness." It was her theme of life. And
Lovely.
sounds probably similar to how your Nina showed up in the world, just like teaching and showing and modeling. And so we love to ask our guests to say who they'd want to thank for their kindness. And you can send it as a text. We've had people do a phone call. You can tell us who you want to reach out to. But we just want to end on that action and that intention of gratitude. So who
Absolutely.
would
And I thought about this too, and I'm not going to text her. I'm going to send her this podcast because she's very much into podcasts, and I'm going to let her hear it for herself. But my very dear friend, her name is Lisa Rosenzweig. I've known her since we were 6 years old. She's still very
Mm,
much in my life. She's a therapist. She helps people, and is so selfless in giving that it can kind of feel intimidating sometimes to have someone that light and emotionally available for everybody. She's the kind of person that, you know, will give you the space you need, but continue to check in just to make sure everything's cool, but like do it slyly so you don't even realize that you're being checked on.
yeah.
She thinks about you when she sees small things, and it reminds you of her. It reminds her of you, and she'll send you this meme. She's one of the genuinely purest people I know, and all of her life is an act of service in others, which I think is pretty special. So
It's
her,
amazing.
I would love to give
Lisa?
gratitude for her kindness. Lisa Rosenzweig.
Thank you, Lisa, for your kindness. Well, thank you, Julie, for you, your kindness, the work you do, just like your time. This was so special and so wonderful to learn more about you and your work. So
Yeah.
thank you.
No, thank you for having me. This was really awesome. I appreciate it.
Amazing. Why Kindness is made possible by the Wasserman-Glasser family in loving memory of kindmaker Sandra K. Wasserman. More information on our guest and topics from this episode are available in the show notes. We hope you enjoyed this conversation and would love to hear what you think. Please leave a review wherever you listen and join us on social media and at kindness.org to learn more about how you can be a kind maker. We will continue exploring this question, why kindness, throughout the season. So stay tuned, friend, and thank you for your kindness.